Hey, what's up, all my duckies out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming at you with another episode review of DuckTales, the 2017 reboot. This time it's Season three's Episode 4 titled The Lost Harp of Mervana, one of the lost relics of Isabel Finch that she was never able to find. One of the co-founders of the Junior Woodchucks. This is actually a mission that Huey takes particular interest in. Well, not just Huey, but Scrooge as well, as they love the adventure and the mystery and the exploration of finding a lost civilization that was sunken beneath the sea. Apparently, there's a race of mer people down that way that everyone is all too excited to see. Everyone except Louis, who is very particularly pessimistic about this adventure as he's gotten kind of fed up with the constant danger that his life is put in with these adventures. However, the rest of the cast is undeterred. Huey is excited, Scrooge is excited, they're all ready to do this thing. But Louis expresses how usually this ends in some kind of sacrifice, so he's having none of this. But they ultimately do end up coming upon the Mer people, the lost people of Mervana, which oddly enough are voiced by the voice actor and voice actress for Beast Boy and Starfire from Teen Titans, Greg Sipes and Hendon Welch, which took me off guard because I'm just like, uh, that's Greg Sipes, the eternal hippie. Of course he would be here. But the fact that and then Welch was also here took me off guard because I'm just like, oh man, you just need a few more and you straight up have a Teen Titans reunion here. But they kind of run in the same circle, so I shouldn't be surprised. But very nice voice cameos. And while everyone else is taken in by the majesty of the Mer people, we come to find out that Della has this unshakable hatred for all things sea life, and the unnatural combination of duck and fish gives her the heebie jeebies. So while everyone else goes about exploring Mervana, Della hangs back on the ship on the sub. But ultimately, Scrooge finds the way of the people of Mervana to not really be to his liking. They're hippies. They don't work for anything. So Scrooge takes particular uh, offense to this. But we come upon their city, their shrine, and a statue to their king Honestus, who had apparently gone missing some time ago, who they say he went off to seek enlightenment, which is dubious at best. But they tell of their people how they're able to change from normal ducks to sea ducks and all that good stuff when they come into contact with water and their way of life. But they also go on to say that they miss their king, he's been gone for some time, and they hope for his return one day. But Louis is buying none of it. He feels that ultimately there will be some kind of sacrifice made to their king, so he wants to inspect things and find out what the mer people might be hiding. Though Beakley tries to dissuade any of this, especially towards Webby, as she finds that the people of Mervana seem to just be simple people with no malice within their hearts. But Louis goes into a cave that is very much marked keep out to find out what they're hiding, with Webby following, while the rest of the duck family are made to make makeshift tails to find a form of enlightenment and be fully accepted into the culture of Mervana so that they can hopefully find the harp at some point, the lost harp of Mervana and all that good stuff. But Scrooge takes a particular amount of convincing from Huey, as he's none too keen on the hippy dippy ways of giving up material possessions and all that good stuff. However, Louis and Webby come upon this, very terrifying fish-like monster that they have to run from, but they're eventually saved by um, Miss Beakley, who has come to make sure that they stay out of trouble, and she tries to reinforce that the people of Mervana are good. Although she lets Louis know that she's actually kind of investigating herself, and she finds that they're up to something, validating Louis in some respect. Meanwhile, Donald takes particular he really takes to the ways of the people of Mervana. He really kind of starts to grow into this whole enlightenment thing, giving up worldly possessions, peacefulness. You know, it is a form of therapy for him, if nothing else. And he's really taken in by the Mervana culture. However, Scrooge, not so much. They find that he isn't living his truth. He isn't finding his true self, as he keeps trying to just give in to what they need to hear in order for him to find the harp, which Beakley, Louis, and Webby ultimately find. The Harp of Mervana, which we come to find out, tells it's basically a lie detector for the most part. It's able to tell when someone is telling the truth or telling a lie. Now, this actually is based off of a character from the 1987 version, although that version was very small, about the size of like a book or something, and didn't really have much in terms of personality. This one I actually kind of enjoy. But, they question what happened to the people of Mervana and what are they hiding. And she goes on to let them know that it's not so much that they're hiding something, it's just the fact that they're lazy. Now, she actually did her best to try to tell the king Canestus, who was christened king after the previous one died, but he was very stubborn. He didn't want to work. He didn't want to do anything. He shirked his responsibilities, ended up ultimately running away from his people, and the civilization eventually fell into ruin, sinking below the waves because no upkeep, nothing was done to kind of make sure something like this wouldn't happen. But ultimately, because Anestus spent so much time running away beneath the water, he eventually turned into the creature that chased Louis and Webby. So that's the startling revelation. But while all of this is going on, Beakley tries to just kind of keep a lot of this from Webby. But ultimately the truth kind of comes out that while Webby believes the best in everybody, Beakley not so much. She wanted to keep a lot of this from Webby because while Webby, is very skilled, is very talented, is good at keeping secrets, she always tries to find the best in everyone. And ultimately, Beakley feels that the best, everyone doesn't have that bit of goodness that Webby seeks so much. Not everyone has that, and she didn't want Webby's soul to be crushed, basically. But ultimately, it's found out that if they don't, do something soon, ultimately their friends and family will be eaten by King Honestus. So while, the rest of the Duck family, finds their inner truth and all that good stuff, Scrooge kind of goes off the moment they start to talk about giving up his money. But ultimately, that was his truth. He loves his money. So they accept him into the Mervana culture. But ultimately, they have no idea where the harp is, so they can't really hand it over or anything like that. Meanwhile, Della is trying her best to get acclimated to water, only to be stalked by King Honestus. So, Miss Beakley, Louie, and Webby take the harp, back down to the caverns, although Webby is kind of at a loss. The revelation that her granny is a bit of a liar and that people aren't generally good has taken a blow to her self-worth and ego for the most part. But King Honest is on a rampage in the caverns as Beakley, Louie, and Webby arrive to help out. And while Donna is too zen to actually do anything, ultimately Louis is able to enrage him by saying that, his cooking is only so-so. So he manages to fight against Honestus and get the boys out of harm's way, while the people of Mervana are kind of at a loss, having come to the realization that their king changed into a monster, which, they're not sure what to do. They believe that their king would be the one to come and help them, but to find out he's actually trying to hurt them is a massive blow to their ego, kind of wallowing in the same pity that Webby is. But with an inspirational speech by Louis saying that it's not wrong to want to see the best in everyone. Sometimes, you need that. You need to just have that optimism, but you also kind of got to make that decision for yourself. You have to, it takes effort to believe in someone, no matter what. And this inspires Webby to try to get the people of Mervana to fight back and, do what they can against this beast invading their home. So while Henestus stalks the Duck family, in come the people of Mervana to try to help out and keep their king at bay. So as the McDuck clan escapes, Henestus doggedly pursues and tries to bring down what's left of the, castle. The Duck family tries to swim to safety with the help of the Mervana people, but Honestus is hot on their tail, only to be strucken by the very castle that he knocked down. And as the people of Mervana make their way to shore, they find that they've been in the water for so long they've pretty much forgotten how to stand on land. And as Honestus makes his way up to the surface, in comes Della, knocking him out, and helping to revert him back into his regular self. And the harp really lays into him that he needs to stop shirking his responsibilities. He has to actually do something for his people. But he doesn't have to do it alone. With his people helping him along the way, they'll be able to rebuild their kingdom. Just because he has responsibilities doesn't mean that it all comes down to him. So, as they set about rebuilding their civilization, the harp is very brutally honest about how badly it's going. And while they kind of question if she's actually helping anything, Miss Beakley says that ultimately harsh truths are what people need sometimes in order to properly grow, having taken a lot of the honesty thing to heart. And helping each other, doing for each other is the way you can get past any kind of shortcoming. So, while Scrooge decides to ultimately leave the harp, feeling that the adventure was worth its weight in any kind of treasure, Beakley promises to always be honest with her granddaughter. Although the harp heard in the distance says that she's fibbing, fibbing, fibbing. So what else is Beakley hiding? What could possibly be such a big thing that after all of this she would still keep it from her granddaughter? It really begs the question. And what, will the harp really just be okay? Isn't Fowl still out there searching for all these lost treasures? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think Miss Beakley is hiding from her granddaughter? And do you think the lost Harp of Mervana will ever come into play again? I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. But until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din. If you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.